Hello again. It has been a little while since I've invited viewers to conduct a thought experiment, so here is one which might be amusing. What do you suppose would have been the reaction had Nigel Farage said in an interview that he was standing as a parliamentary candidate for every white person in the country? Do you think that such an observation would have passed unnoticed by the mainstream media? Or do you, on the other hand, think that this would have been headline news and claim to reveal Nigel Farage as the worst kind of racist bigot? I suspect that we all of us know the answer to this. Any mention of the interests of white people is seen as being dreadful racism. But standing up for black and brown people is simply being progressive. In the description to this video, I give a link to the interview in which the Labour candidate for Clacton, Jovan Owusu-Nepaul, whose favourite drink is, by the way, the tears of white people, said this very thing. He said of his standing for Parliament that, "I feel like I'm doing this for every black and brown person in the country." There is something curious here in that any mention of skin colour when it comes to politics can only be made according to certain conventions. As far as white skin is concerned, references must be mocking or disdainful. You can describe a crowd of people as being hideously white, for instance, and that's fine. You can indignantly draw attention to the fact that various senior positions are occupied by white people, and that too is acceptable. Or you can also mention that such and such an activity has too many white people involved in it, climbing mountains, say. This same convention dictates that you may never mention whiteness in a positive context as something desirable and good. When it comes to being black or brown, the opposite is true. The lack of black or brown people in some place is to be regretted and seen as a problem which must be rectified. It is fine to say, as Jovan Owusu-Nepaul did, that you have the interests of black and brown people at heart. There is something odd about all this. Those who overtly champion the cause of white people are dangerous racists, but those who are explicitly fighting for the interests of black and brown people are progressive. I note too that as he's a black person, nobody bothers to mention when Jovan Owusu-Nepaul makes statements relating to race which are demonstrably false. In that same interview, he says that my grandparents, who came to this country in the 40s and 50s, who had to deal with no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. This is, of course, a reference to supposed signs which advertised the renting of rooms and had at the bottom the stipulation, no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. This is a piece of fake history devised in the 1980s for an exhibition at an Irish centre in London. Somebody had mocked up a sign by scrawling these words in black marker pen as a way of trying to get Irish people involved in the whole anti-racism business, which was so popular at that time with the GLC under Ken Livingstone. It's true that there were signs saying room to let, sorry, no coloureds, but the idea that said anybody said room to let, no dogs, no blacks, no Irish is completely false. It's nonsense. It's fake history. The whole thing was just an invention for a particular exhibition. This then is a situation on the British political scene today. You can mention skin colour as much as you like if you are black or if you're championing the cause of black people, but any mention of white people or white skin in any sort of positive way is strictly verboten. It's worth asking ourselves how we came to this position